I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at liverpoolfc.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Friday, on which we're basically just waiting for Saturday, because on Saturday Arne Slot becomes the new manager and we'll probably get interviews and things like that at that point. Today, though, we have on This is Anfield a piece about Endo, an unexpected signing who now asks same question of Liverpool. Look, Endo did well this past season. I think we all were very appreciative of what he did for the team when he was finally put into the team and Alexis was able to go and play in the role that actually, he was bought to play. But, let's not sugarcoat things. We should not have ended up in a situation last summer where Endo was the defensive midfielder we were bringing in. We should have had a significantly better player in that role. And there was better options out there last summer. There will be better options again this summer, and it absolutely must be a priority. And I know David Lynch said he didn't see it unless someone left. That was an opinion. He wasn't saying that from any purpose of reporting. He was saying that from his opinion. We wasted 52 million last summer on Endo and Gravenberch that could have gone towards getting us a top-end midfielder. That is the fact of the matter. And again, Endo did well, but not good enough. He'll be a fine squad player to have for the next year or so, but there's no long-term upside with him. Crisis over, Virgil van Dijk back to his best, and a new contract is a must. Absolutely agreed on this. Return to being the best centre-back on the planet, easily the best centre-back in the league. Laughable that anyone would suggest otherwise. He held that team together as it threatened to fall apart for a couple of months with the injuries. 3 different right backs, 3 different left backs, 3 different fellas playing next to him at centre back, 3 different holding midfielders and 2 different goalkeepers. And yet the one consistent was him, and he maintained an incredibly high level all season long. And we absolutely have to give him a new contract. There's no reason to think he's going to decline in the next couple of years. He played 45 games in all competitions. Played 48 games in all competitions, started 45, and overall was just magnificent for pretty much every game. Couple of one or two shaky games at the start of the year, and then one or two tired-looking games at the end of the year. But again, that comes down to all of the messing going on around him. You look at some of the other centre-backs around Europe who've been able to play on well into their late 30s, and he is better than all of them, or better than all of them ever were. And there's no reason to think he can't play until he's 36, 37, 38 at a really high level. So get that contract done, lock him in, and keep moving forward, because he's so important to us. Like our whole defensive structure needs him. And I know the structure looked poor last year, but that was not anything to do with him. It was entirely to do with the rest of what was going on. The tactical decisions that were made, the lack of effort from a certain right back, the injuries, etc., etc. Jurgen Klopp laughs at FSG's dumbest idea ever. Jurgen Klopp said what we were all thinking when it came to Liverpool's former training ground, and he laughed at the owner's expense as he touched on their dumbest idea ever. Melwood has been part of the fabric of Liverpool since the 1950s, with Bill Shankly helping to transform it from a sorry wilderness to a legendary facility. In 2020, the men's team relocated to the AXA training centre, linking the academy with the first team. The club sold Melwood to a housing developer only to buy it back. Built-in new stands, built-in use. Okay. The decision to sell Melwood. I like the way he says, we bought Melwood back. Yes, Jurgen, I'm sure you paid some of your money towards it. He is right, though. Like, it was a bad idea to sell it when the women's team absolutely needed it. And the possibilities were there for the women's team to play there, to potentially be able to build something of a stadium there so that they could have their own home ground as well, to potentially be able to develop a women's academy. Melwood just made all the sense to be used for those purposes. So, yeah, thankfully they did buy it back, and it's now, it's home again, because it didn't feel right when it was sold, especially to housing developers. There's a lot of people that have lived around Melwood for a long, long time who, it was part of the fabric of where they were, and for so many people, it was part of why they lived there, because they had that connection to the club. They felt close to the club because they could literally see the training ground. And even though it's the women's team and they might not follow the women's team now, still seeing that badge, I think will drive a lot of pride in a lot of people living in the area. Next piece here, Arne Slot still in Liverpool, work permit troubles and Colwell talk resurfaces. Arne Slot is in the city as he gears up to officially take over. I'd imagine he's in to film all the different bits and pieces for the club to release, and probably just to, get the lay of the land. It's going to be where him and his family live for the next few years. So he probably just wants to get himself settled, I'd be very happy to see him spend all summer in the city. Levi Colwell remains of interest, yada, yada. Ibu Kanate is attracting interest from PSG, but he's also holding talks with Liverpool over a new contract. I would assume the new contract gets done. Mentioned the work permit issues for Ryden yesterday. I assume they'll get done as well. FSG owners close in on NBA after astonishing $60 billion deal, £60 billion deal agreed. So the NBA media rights deal is getting close to being done and is going to be absolutely enormous. And Fenway Sports Group are one of the groups who are in the mix to buy one of the new expansion teams when that happens, which will probably be next year. They'll probably sell the club, sell the expansion rights, and then probably 2027 that team would come into existence. FSG have long been the favourites to get the team that will probably be placed in Las Vegas, with another group getting a team in Seattle. That's probably irrelevant to most people who don't follow the NBA. To me, it's very relevant because it will mean conference realignment, which might push my beloved Timberwolves into the much easier Eastern Conference than the nightmare Western Conference that they are currently in. $60 million over 11 years for the TV rights to the NBA. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. They are suggesting that the cost of the new franchise will be around $4 billion. It could actually be even more than that. And that's part of why FSG were initially looking at selling us, was to fund that. But it looks like they've got another avenue to find that money. So we'll see. We'll see if it has any knock-on effect on us. It's unlikely to, unless they sell. If they sell, we'll know why. But they might sell it. They might sell a percentage of the club again. They've done that once already. They might look to do it again. Joe Gomez has already scored for Liverpool. Forgotten goal video resurfaces. What? Oh, he played for the under-23s against Reading in March of 2017, and he scored in that game. Trent, Nat Phillips, Harry Wilson, and Ryan Brewster were also in that team, and Gomez scored the opener after 6 minutes. Phillips scored, Ben Woodburn scored, and Brewster got 2. Camille Grabara was in that team. Camille Grabara, Trent, Gomez, Nat Phillips, and Conor Randall as the back four. Kevin Stewart and Marco Grujic as a double pivot. Harry Wilson, Ben Woodburn, and Shea Ojo as the three behind a striker. And that striker was Ryan Brewster. And Tony Gomes came off the bench in that one. It's a funny thing with Gomez because you see the footage of him in training, and he strikes the ball very, very well.
I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at liverpoolfc.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
So the goal here, it's a corner by Harry Wilson. Gomez makes a run towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a really good first-time finish. Joe's a really good player from a technical point of view. And yet, whenever he gets in front of the goal, he just makes a haves of things. But yeah, so plenty on This Is Anfield for you today if you want to check that out. We'll jump to Liverpool.com and see if there's any new hopes and dreams for us. Liverpool latest, Darwin Núñez, Crescencio Somerville, and latest gossip as Red's Eye summer deals. I think the latest stance on Somerville is that we're probably not interested because that's not a move we've ever looked at making before. Liverpool ace valued above Declan Rice and Rodri as Arne Slot handed reminder of his talent. Don't think Arne Slot would need any reminder of the talent of Dominic Szoboszlai, but these valuations are a nonsense from the Football Observatory, who are a faceless gang of morons. Their valuations on players are absolutely hilarious. But, yeah, I mean, look, Szoboszlai had a great first half the last year, got injured because he got overplayed and poorly used, and struggled in the back half of the year. They've also got a piece about the NBA media rights. They've got a piece about Wayne Rooney talking about Trent. What else do we have? The nonsense from Jonathan Morley that we went over yesterday. Just stick to making terrible TikToks, fella. Arne Slot told Liverpool has midfielder better than Bellingham. Jesus wept. Arne Slot told he can capitalise on unique Liverpool situation. Yada, yada. There's not a whole lot on here today. It's quite disappointing. Jurgen Klopp drops biggest hint yet about future after Liverpool as one option definitely ruled out. Right, we'll have a look at that. Sounds like it might be a little bit of nonsense, butcher. Liverpool midfielder Ryan Gravenberch was previously rated higher than Jude Bellingham by fellow Dutch midfielder. Who's been sniffing? Oh, Rafael van der Vaart. Yeah. Yeah. What an absolute imbecile. I think Gravenberch is better than him in every way, especially physical. That was last April. Imagine how much glue you'd have to be sniffing. He also recently came out and said that Gravenberch should commit to playing as a number 6. Like, I advise Ryan to opt for a role as a defensive midfielder. You can compare with Nigel de Jong in the past. I mean, is he for real with this nonsense? Gravenberch is by far the worst defensive midfield player at the club. Bizarre. Jurgen Klopp drops biggest hint. Klopp has said all his goodbyes and set to enjoy some time on holiday, but it won't be long before he thinks more about what's to come next. It's out of the question that I'll stop working altogether, but I don't see myself continuing at the same pace as before. I mean, the national team makes sense, the German national team. So I could definitely see him doing that. He's obviously just moved to Mallorca. He bought the property a few years ago and they've been renovating it and turning it into like an eco house. We're getting older and the medical care here is great. There are many German doctors and I would like to be able to understand every word, how I feel and so on, with the problems becoming bigger, yada, yada. I don't want to emigrate. We go on holiday here every now and then. So, yeah, it's not necessarily going to be where he lives, but it is going to be somewhere that he spends quite a bit of time. I think he might take the national team job. I think he's going to take a year off. I think Nagelsmann manages the national team until next summer, and then he jumps into a club job. And I think Klopp takes it at that point. And that would be my bet. I think the only way he returns to working at a club is if he's not the manager, potentially in a... I mean, he wanted to be director of football at Liverpool and was, for all intents and purposes, for the last 2 years, really. But I think he'd want to be maybe like wasn't he going to be head of football at Dortmund? Isn't that the rumor? Maybe that's what happens. Liverpool, one of 3 Premier League clubs circling Newcastle for Bruno Guimaraes. I don't believe that to be true. Maybe it is. I don't really see that as a viable option for us, given the money involved. I don't really think him and Alexis is a particularly good fit as a double pivot, but he's a great player. I assume he just ends up at City because they want him, and I think they'll pay the money. Arne Slot, frustration as key Liverpool signing set to be blocked. Again, I think this is just more on the work permit situation. But again, I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen. I'd be surprised if Reijnen doesn't arrive. They say at the moment he doesn't have the necessary coaching qualifications. I assume he'll just go and get his coaching qualifications and then he'll arrive. But there's probably ways that they can have him working for them. Doesn't necessarily need to be in England to do his job. So yeah, I mean, I assume something gets worked out there. Liverpool have lost their transfer market edge. It's time to be a smart club again. I thought Sam Maguire wrote this. It's listed as Peter Staunton. I saw Sam sharing it earlier on. I wonder, has the wrong tagline been put on that? I think that's Sam that wrote that. Saudi Arabia targets 2 more Liverpool names ahead of summer transfer window. Joe Gomez is one. I don't think Joe would go. Luis Diaz is the other. I think he would go. He was quite happy to go there last summer, so I think that might happen. There's a piece about Curtis Jones and Jarrell Quansah potentially being among those cut from the England squad. Liverpool transfer news today. Kelleher exit hint. There wasn't a hint. He outright said he wants to leave. He just said it politely. Rodrigo and Bijlow, who I just don't think will sign because he's always injured. Liverpool legend named by Kyle Walker as toughest opponent. He was, of course, talking about Sadio Mane, who rinsed Kyle Walker over and over and over again, and it was a wonderful thing to see. So thus far, 4 Liverpool players have been confirmed for the Euros. Virgil, Cody and Gravenberch in the Dutch squad. Gravenberch is the surprise inclusion there. And for Portugal, Diogo Jota. 4 players in the England squad. It's expected that Trent gets named. The other 3 are up in the air. For Scotland, Andy Robertson and Ben Doak. Robertson will definitely be named. Doak, I think, is a 50-50. Szoboszlai will 100% be named as in the Hungarian squad. He is their captain and best player. And Ibu will almost certainly be expected to be in the French squad and probably in the French team, given he is their best central defender. On AnfieldIndex.com, there's a piece about Johan Bakayoko. No, thank you. It's a piece about Brian Mbomo talking about potentially wanting to move on from Brentford. He wouldn't be for me this summer, but he is a very good player, obviously. There's a piece about Luis Guilherme, who potentially is going to West Ham. He's a very talented player, very, very talented player. He's not quite on the level of prospect as Estevao and Hendrick, but he's very talented. And he's probably got a clearer path to becoming the best version of himself. But I mean, he's not a first-choice starter for Palmeiras yet. So he's not ready to come to England and start for anybody. So someone's paying big money on a development project, which is fine, but I don't see it being us this summer. And then Paul Gorst has said that Liverpool like Levi Colwill. Apparently, the links have re-emerged from the Colwill side. So you'd wonder, is there anything in that? You know, is it him pushing for a move or what's actually going on? Right. Podcast-wise, there is that transfer market metrics episode from yesterday. Dave Davis and Phil Barter. And there is a new scouted, which is myself and Carl going over the squad and doing a bit of keep, loan, sell. We did it for the transfer committee. It's always interesting to redo that with Carl, just because he has some different views on things. But yeah, so that one's good. We've recorded a new scouted this morning, which will be out, I assume, today or tomorrow, where we took a look at all the different managerial changes that have taken place at big clubs around Europe and then in the Premier League. And that's it. That's me for the week. I will see you all on Monday. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
I'm Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I'm Curtis Jones.
I am Cody Gakpo.
Putting on the Liverpool top for the first time, it was a dream come true, and I'll never forget that moment.
The new LFC 24-25 season Nike home kit is out now.
Buy it today, along with our new goalkeeper kit and training range at your official LFC stores. Online at liverpoolfc.com/store and on the official LFC store app.
You will never walk alone.